So let's move on a little bit more with the timeline here. You have that slider, and this slider pretty much makes it possible to display like a timeline of, what are we now, like 3 hours here in total. But you can also just go in and like do really precise work for like keyframing or cutting and do all kind of different stuff. Yes, it is really important to know that you can also turn on and off layers. So right now you see this video is activated. You can turn it on and off here. And also you can see here on the top, there is the time code or like the time we're in. So right now this clip is about almost 2 seconds long. So always see here the seconds of your video. You see the comp. And another thing which is really important, you can cut your clips by just going to the end of that clip and just dragging it to the cursor, for example. And if you have this icon here activated, the snap one, you can just boom, snap it to that slider, or if you have another clip on top. But if this one is deactivated, this can be pretty hard to nail it right. So you're like, oh no, I want to cut it right at the slider, but it's not snapping there. So just activate that snap up here. And you can also, the same thing as like turning off the video layer. Here on and off, you can turn off the audio. So this one is mute, so you can mute the track. I think these are like the most important things. You can also lock your layer, like this track. So now the whole track is locked and I cannot edit it. So I can just edit the audio right now. So this can also be really helpful. Nice. If you're here in your timeline and you have a lot of clips, it's really helpful to have the option here to label clips. So for example, here you can label this clip in that rosé, or you can go down and label it in, I don't know, Caribbean. And now with different types, for example, when I do a selection, I label them in different colors. So when I go in my big timeline, like zooming out, I can see, okay, these blue ones, this is my B-roll, for example, A-roll is the Caribbean. And now with a lot of clips, if you have a lot in your timeline, labeling makes a lot of sense. So you just have different options here. You can rename your clip. You can scale it to frame size, for example, which can be really helpful. Copy a clip. You can edit it in Adobe Audition. So the audio is going to be able to work in Adobe Audition. This is the audio program of Adobe. You can replace clips. You can replace it with an After Effects composition. So it's going to open up After Effects and create a dynamic link between the clip and your clip you're working now in After Effects. You can unlink the audio from the video file like I'm doing here. So you can delete that audio if you don't need it. This is pretty helpful. You can also, of course, label it, or you can nest clips. Nesting, basically what it does, it creates another container if you want. And we just call this one nested sequence 1, for example. And now everything I've selected is now in this nested subsequence. If you get further and advanced with editing, you're working with a lot of sequences and subsequences and nested comps. We are going to talk about this on a different day, just that you have seen. You can just like nest it here through that menu. You can open up the audio gain and lower the audio gain, or like increase it to edit your audio here. Of course, you can also use the essential sound. So there are a lot of ways to do different things. So yeah, that's pretty much the most important stuff for that menu here. I'm not using this one too much because for all of these, we're going to talk about shortcuts, keyboard shortcuts in a second, because you see, it takes so much time to do that right click and then to click unlink, for example. The shortcut is Command L, which is way faster, Command L, than just like going the right click way, going down, clicking the button, which takes a lot of time. If you do that, like, I don't know, 200 times in a week, it's gonna save you a ton of time.